The grand hall of the Meridian Citadel stretched before them. Like a cathedral carved from living crystal, Alice stood beside Michael, her boots clicking against the luminescent floor as dignitaries from across 12 star systems gathered for the most important diplomatic ceremony in human history. The air hummed with translation devices and the nervous energy of species who had never quite trusted one another. "Stay calm," Michael whispered, adjusting his ceremonial sash. "We're just observers. Don't touch anything. Don't speak unless spoken to, and for God's sake, don't make eye contact with the Krill delegation." Alice nodded, though her attention was fixed on the massive doors at the hall's far end. Behind them waited Queen Xyrathal of the Velkari Dominion, the most powerful being in the known galaxy. Today, her youngest offspring would undergo the choosing an ancient ritual, where the heir selected their future guardian from among the assembled representatives. It was a political chess game of cosmic proportions. Whoever was chosen would gain unimaginable influence, their species elevated to a position of unprecedented power within the Dominion. Earth's delegation had been invited purely as a courtesy. Humanity was too young, too primitive, too insignificant to ever be selected. The doors opened with a sound like singing metal. Queen Xyrathal entered first, her chitinous form towering 12 feet tall, her 6 limbs moving with fluid grace. Her carapace shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that rippled in waves of deep purple and gold. Behind her, barely reaching her thorax, came the child. The young Velkari was small by their species standards, perhaps 4 feet tall, but already displayed the distinctive crown of sensory antennae that marked royal blood. Its carapace was still soft, pale blue rather than the deep obsidian of maturity. Large, multifaceted eyes swept across the assembled crowd with an intelligence that seemed far too ancient. For such a small creature, Alice felt her breath catch. She'd seen Velkari before, but never one so young. Never one whose every movement spoke of both vulnerability and the weight of empire. The ceremony began with the traditional recitations, words in the old tongue that predated human civilization by millennia. Alice's translator struggled to keep up, feeding her fragments about honor, duty, and the sacred bond between guardian and heir. One by one, representatives stepped forward to present themselves. The Krill ambassador, his crystalline form refracting the hall's light into rainbows. The Thosian diplomat, her gaseous body contained within an ornate pressure suit. The Andromedian envoy, whose species had been allies of the Velkari for 10,000 years. The young heir examined each one with those enormous eyes, clicking softly to itself, then moving on without acknowledgement. Michael leaned toward Alice. "This could take hours. I heard the last choosing went for 2 days straight." But Alice wasn't listening. She was watching the child, and something in its posture troubled her. The way it held its smaller manipulator limbs close to its body, the slight tremor in its antennae. She'd worked with traumatized children during the Mars colony crisis. Human children. Yes, but fear looked the same across species. The heir was terrified. Without thinking, Alice stepped forward. Michael's hand shot out to grab her arm, but she'd already moved beyond his reach. The entire hall froze. Every eye, lens, and sensory organ turned toward her. The Queen's Guard's massive warrior Velkari armed with plasma lances tensed. Alice ignored them all. She walked past the Andromedian envoy, past the shocked faces of Earth's senior diplomats, and stopped 10 feet from the young heir. Then she did something that would have gotten her expelled from diplomatic school. She sat down on the floor. "Hey there," she said softly, her translator rendering the words in the common tongue. "Big day, huh? All these people staring, all these expectations. Must be pretty scary." The heir's antennae quivered, its large eyes fixed on her. "I get it," Alice continued, keeping her voice gentle. "When I was young, I had to give a speech in front of my entire colony. Thousands of people. I was so scared I threw up right before going on stage." She smiled. "But you know what helped? Remembering that being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you understand how important something is." The young Velkari took a tentative step forward, then another. The guards moved to intercept, but Queen Xyrathal raised one clawed limb weight. "You don't have to choose anyone today," Alice said, "and you definitely don't have to choose based on what everyone else expects. You choose whoever makes you feel safe, whoever you trust. And if that's no one right now, that's okay too. The air was close now. So close Alice could see her reflection in its multifaceted eyes. It raised one small manipulator limb and gently touched her face, the gesture heartbreakingly similar to how a human child might reach for a parent. Then, it turned to its mother and spoke in rapid clicks and whistles. The Queen's translator spoke in a voice that echoed through the hall. The heir has chosen. Chaos erupted. Ambassadors shouted in a dozen languages. The Andromedan envoy protested formally. Earth's chief diplomat looked like he might faint, but the young Valkyrie remained beside Alice, one limb resting against her shoulder, its antennae brushing her hair with curious gentleness. Queen Xyrathal approached, each step sending vibrations through the crystal floor. She loomed over Alice, and for a moment, the human woman wondered if she'd just committed an act of war. Then the Queen spoke, and her translator carried a note of something that might have been amusement. You are the first in 3 centuries to see past the ceremony to my child's fear, the first to offer comfort instead of ambition. Perhaps your species is not as primitive as we believed. She extended her largest limb toward Alice, an invitation to rise. My heir has chosen. Will you accept the responsibility of guardianship, Alice Chen of Earth? Alice looked at Michael, who had somehow appeared at her side. His face was pale, but he nodded almost imperceptibly. Then she looked at the young heir, still pressed against her, still seeking comfort. Yes, she said, I accept. The heir's antennae brightened to brilliant gold, and for the first time that day, it made a sound that the translator identified as laughter. The humans had been invited as a courtesy. They left as family to the throne, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again.